So welcome everyone to this second week of the 21 day Dust the Mind challenge. And again, I would really want to congratulate you all. And I would again ask all of you to congratulate yourself, pat yourself on the back, because that's really, really important. The kind of acknowledgement that you can give to your own self, nobody else can do that. And this is really empowering, like being able to acknowledge your own self. And coming this far, completing 1 week in itself is a big victory, because you see, the visualization technique that I use, if I'm able to do something for 1 week, I can begin to imagine myself doing it for 21 days. And if I do it for 21 days, I can begin to imagine myself doing it for a lifetime. And I can, from that grounding of me having taken just one step, I can, project into the future and start to visualize myself the way I wish to be, right? Whatever are the goals and objectives I have for myself, I can visualize from that ground. But if I do not take any step at all, which is what typically people get stuck in, that if I do not take any step and I am thinking about all of those things, man, I really want to get me my health right, my diet right, I'm very stressful, I need to meditate, my relationships are all over the place, I'm not able to earn good money, I'm not able to get time out for myself, not able to travel. And we are thinking about all of those things together. And we are also planning about tons of things that we want to do. And that becomes really overwhelming. And we are not able to just take one step, identify just that one thing that we want to do to begin with, and take that one step. So by virtue of that, taking just that one step in itself is a big achievement, and it can give you a solid ground to stand on. And now it is not just a part of your thinking and overthinking, it is a part of your true self. And you can extrapolate from there and visualize your higher self reaching like wherever. It is limitless. So with that, I would like to start. I have a like little presentation that I have made for you guys. So these are the amazing 21 days. And as we talked about to begin with, amazing why? Because we are doing amazing things. We are creating change in our life. And creating change is the biggest thing. It is the biggest bottleneck that you face. I was just talking about this with my wife this morning, that we are so used to our usual self. We have a self image. We are very comfortable with the idea of who we are, along with all the attributes, what all we think about ourselves, how people perceive us, what I like, what I don't like, my biases about the world, about people, about stuff and everything. That making change can become hard. It is unknown. We are trying to, let go of an idea of who we are. And in order to welcome a new idea, we have to let go of that and be, open to welcome a place, a space that is unknown, and which is why it becomes challenging. And if we are doing it, it is amazing, because amazing things happen in life only through growth. Only when a plant sheds its leaves to have new and more abundant leaves the next season, grow a bigger and stronger stem, deeper roots, be nurtured, feed more nutrients, and eventually become a huge tree with fruits that not only nurture the plant, but all of the people and, the entire universe around it. So with that, we step into week 2. And once again, congratulations. I just wanted to like quickly talk about my journey. And, you know, I was a person right since my childhood. I had health issues. At the age of 3, I had a lot of allergies. I was diagnosed with allergic bronchitis, where my I will choke for breath. And as is always the case, the modern medicine, which is a big scam in itself, it put me on medication to suppress that allergic reaction. And as I understand it now and know it, any allergic reaction is just a symptom which shows that there is some blockage, some stagnation, some junk inside the body, which is being stimulated by some external trigger. And what the modern medicine would do is just suppress it by giving medication which are numbing your feelings, which are numbing the process inside the body that lets you know through these allergic reactions, through pains and aches and all of that stuff, which are just sensors of the body, the ability for the body to communicate to you that something is wrong. And as that happened, that's the best that my parents knew. And as a kid, I was completely dependent on my parents, and I became a child who was very closely held by the parents, especially my mother, and overprotected, not allowed to explore and venture too much, with too many limits and boundaries set in my life in terms of what I can do, what I can eat, uh, and in terms of other people also being aware of my limitations, that they need to take care of me. And there was this over protection, over care, over pampering that was happening. And what that really did was, as fast forward to my teenage and later on, that created this need inside of me, this expectation inside of me, that my nurture I can only be nurtured when other people take extra care of me. It became an idea of myself, my self image, that people really pamper me, really take care of me. And in the absence of that, you go through crisis, identity crisis, and you that creates stress in your life, anxiety, that creates a lot of mental friction, overthinking, insomnia, and so on and so forth, which manifests as health issues in the body. So we really have to understand this. It is the mind which really manifests as blockages in the body. Also, through the food we eat, the environment that we consume, the toxicity in the environment, all of that feeds in. But the mind and the environment around you, by thoughts of other people, their vibrations, has a really tremendous role. And my health issues started to grow, and I was always chasing this outside happiness, trying to convince people, trying to feel that I am good enough, I am worthy, and trying to fulfill their expectations, the expectations of my parents and my relatives in society. And sort of this tag had been put onto me that I am really good at studies, and I am a scholar, and I would always try to live up to that expectation, that self image, because essentially that is my identity. And to the extent, if I would lose just one mark, that would pain me so bad, as if I have lost one finger. That kind of anxiety and stress it would create. I remember that as a child, I would wake up the entire night revising all of the chapters for the test which I was going to take the next day. Imagine the stress for a little child, waking up the entire day, going sleepless to the exam, having palpitations, hands shaking, all, the heart beating really fast, and unable to hold the pen, and the teacher really pampering me. So that was essentially like a brief of all that was happening in my world. And as it kept growing, my health really started crashing. And I developed a tumor, I developed diabetes, pain all over my joints and whatnot, constipation, like all of the health issues that one can think of. Went through multiple surgeries, and all of the medical kitchen sink was thrown at me, which, if which of course, naturally, it really even further deteriorated my health. And eventually, when my son came into my life, in taking care of my son and in trying to do the best for my son, I started exploring out of the box, which is when I moved out of the city to Dharamshala, to the mountains, and started exploring life anew, life afresh. I started to, explore and try to find answers to the questions that I always had, but always suppress them, because the best I knew was to fulfill the expectations of the tribe around me, which was essentially my family right from my childhood. And now life was a blank slate. I was exploring, and I found out so much beauty in life, so much healing that can happen just by virtue of this exploration. Like, which is eventually why I understood that education is such a defunct thing, and you really need to let children explore and discover their own world, learn through exploration and their own first hand experience, which is very important. Like, that's a separate thing. uh, but then my life trajectory entirely changed. I self healed myself, was able to, get over all the medication. I still take my asthma inhaler, which also I know would be healed in some time. Some things take longer, and it's not even about the quantum of time they take. And when they have to, they have to. So that's essentially it. I'm completely healthy. Mentally, I feel a lot of clarity. I feel a lot of motivation. Whereas earlier, I was chasing these outside goals. I was feeling more and more overwhelmed and stressed. Each day at work would bring me down even more. And then I had to push myself. So, and then as I started exploring, my entire journey has changed. And initially, like, it was a big phase of about 6 years when I was doing nothing, exploring, doing farming, doing all of these courses, going for retreats and workshops. I built a mud house in Dharamshala and stayed there. We were there for 3 years. I would like walk in nature, in forest, and take a bath in the natural water almost every day. And all of that was really nurturing. I was in fact doing this for the last about 2 weeks. I was in Dharamshala, taking a bath in that water every day, walking bare feet, spending time outdoors, breathing that fresh air. Like, it is way above what any medication, like medication, of course, is the negative side of it. It's way above all of that, like superfoods and whatnot that we can do. So then, like, eventually, just about 6 months back, I came to this path that even like three years back, while I was on my health journey, a lot of people started coming to me. People started knowing about me, and a lot of cancer patients, tumor patients, diabetes, all sorts of patients throughout the world started approaching me. But at that time, I was just sharing my journey. I was not prepared to really coach people, and I had to just let go of all of those calls for help. If I, even today, I look at my mailbox, there are literally thousands of mail, like the same person messaging me, like one email after another, that save my child, save my sister. And I realized, like, man, there is so much pain in the world. I have been working in corporate, and I don't know what kind of impact I'm creating in this world, and leave aside any impact for my own life. Now, here, there is so much impact that can be made, so much help that people need. If I could find a way to reach out to them. And eventually, about 6 months back, I started my own coaching business. And now I am doing this in a very structured manner, helping people, week by week. I give them tools and help them integrate those in their lives so that they can bring lasting change in their life and find freedom for their own. Come to themselves and find freedom in their life, freedom of health, free financial freedom, freedom of relationships, and freedom from all of the noise in the mind. Have a really peaceful, abundant life which is full of blessings. And all of us can have a life like that only if we start to explore. And so, yeah, that's what I've showed from a wilted plant which was just looking outside to trying to grow my roots deeper and deeper. And I've realized, like, through this process of service, helping other people, uh, it helps me really grow. The more I share love with other people, the more I receive love. So it's actually a double win situation. Like, I am helping people and they are helping me grow further, and we are creating such a tribe, and it's just like how the universe works. We are one whole. So we forget that, in the course of development of the civilization, but that is how we all need to be. Our work, relationships, our pleasure, recreation, all of that can align. We don't need to have separate buckets of life. So that's about me. And I would just like put a message on the group. This week I'm giving like 5 calls for anybody who would like to, speak to me one on one for any of their challenges. I can really help you reach a life of peace and happiness and joy. I have done this, so you can too. Like, there's nothing different or special about me. I was in that boat where I was really suffering. It's only about like discovering your own true self and addressing your needs, because we are all too fixated on the outside. So more on that later. Yeah. So today, coming to week 2. So we have really worked in during week 1 to anchor on the body, bringing our awareness to the body and rotating our awareness throughout the body. And in doing that, a lot of you would have witnessed that as we become more and more aware of the body starts to settle. And this is very related to what we were just talking till now. You see, our lack of connection with the body, our lack of awareness leads to we not being able to completely address the needs of the body and not be completely at ease in the body, which is a vessel for us. Like being comfortable in a car. If we are driving a car, this life, we are consciousness driving through this life, through the vessel, through the vehicle, which is this body. But unless we are connected to it, really in sync with it, we cannot be comfortable in it. And if you're not comfortable in it, we cannot really have a beautiful ride, a beautiful journey. So when we bring awareness back to our vehicle, that really puts us in a space of connection and comfort, which is what I was talking about, looking outside versus inside, deepening the roots. So we have worked on that, and you've seen some of the benefits in doing that. Yeah, in doing that. And now the next step is really to anchor on the breath and develop greater awareness of the thoughts, because I found that the body is really the first step, which is really easy. And I would also encourage you to carry on this practice of doing this body awareness meditation, what I have shared with you. Or you can search yoga nidras on YouTube. There are like tons of yoga nidras. I use Ali's, and what we've been doing in the last week is also one of the recordings of Ali, and I really thank her for that. She's an amazing person. She's brought a lot of healing and beauty in my life. So you could certainly refer to her. We started my journey and the service part of it, the coaching part, and now we are talking about the breath as an anchor in week 2. All right. Okay. So as we are developing this awareness, it is very important to very strongly anchor in the body. Through my own experience, I found that this is the first and easiest step. And this is something that we can practice throughout the day very easily. Like, the thoughts can be really challenging. If you are trying to witness the thoughts versus getting entangled in the thoughts, and just by witnessing it, it can be challenging. And initially, people can, in witnessing, they can get entangled because the witnessing doesn't really happen. The thoughts are so tempting, and we are so used to further thinking about the thoughts that we really are unable to take it further. But in case of the body, if we just anchor on this stable, solid body, which is always there, we can always feel this body, then automatically the thoughts start to slow down. Because wherever, you know, wherever attention goes, energy flows. If my attention is on the body, energy flows towards the body, and that flow of energy creates healing and calmness in the body. And that diversion of energy now lessens the thought. So it's actually an amazing way to silence the mind and be more present in the here and now. And through that presence, being able to respond to your here and now in a much more, much more better and natural way, as a way of your being without thinking, responding to your outside situations just as your second nature without thinking in a snap. But that can happen through some practice. And so I would encourage you to carry on this practice, one. And second, throughout the day, whenever you can find opportunities to anchor to your body back, whenever you're eating, try to be mindful of feeling the food going inside the body, the taste of the food, it going down your food pipe, entering your stomach, and now how your stomach is feeling, how light it was feeling earlier, how it is now, how your breathing is. And how does it feel the food anywhere else in your body? Like if there is spice, how does it feel here in the mouth? How does it feel here? Even feel your head, your brain. Like foods tremendously affect our mental clarity, our vision, our breath, and actually our entire body, because what we are eating right now, it is eventually going to become you. That piece of apple is going to magically transform into Ritu or Sveta or Anita. And this transformation is really magical. But it going, because of that, the nature of that food and your nature is going to combine and become one, which is also, a perspective on yoga. Probably Sweta can talk about it later. And whenever you're taking a bath, give yourself the time to take a bath, touch yourself, feel how the water drops feel when they, land on your back, your legs, and try to give a rub to your body at various places. How does that feel? And once you get into that feeling, then you will know that what parts of your body need what. Like when we are always in the thoughts, we can't even like address the needs. Oh, my thumb here needed a little massage, a little touch, and now it is feeling better. Now, otherwise, we're like, oh, this is paining, and we're like, just thinking about in the head and making more stories. Oh, today this is also paining. What if tomorrow this thumb also starts to pain? Oh, I'm always like my body is full of pain. I don't think this is going to be resolved. What is going to happen later? And we are thinking about the future. While just a little touch in the present, that connection in the present could heal it, could settle it. All it is asking for is acknowledgement. So when you do this, your bathing is it's a superb time. And after your bath, like stand in front of the mirror, look at yourself, touch yourself, speak to yourself. These are like really easy and simple moments, daily moments of connection. And at this point in time, I really wanted to ask everyone if they have any feedback for last week's meditations, and if they would like to continue with that, or the next week we should do a breath awareness meditation, which is what we typically do, sit down and focus on the breath. What is it that you folks would like to do? You can like unmute yourself and we can talk about this.
I personally feel it's going good. We can continue, but yes, in the process we should not miss if we got some different technique. And I think if it is going to be a little different, we should try that also, because we should not feel that we miss something later on. So I think if everything body works, we should look for a improvement in that. Right? Thank you.
That's a nice idea, Gurmukh ji. So we can do that. And I think today only, why don't we, like after this presentation, if we have enough time left, or maybe in the afternoon, we can do this. And I can also talk about the breath awareness part a little bit, just so that like people who have not like meditated the sitting meditation, they get an idea. So when we do breath as an anchor, what we are essentially doing is bringing all our focus to the breath, the incoming breath and the outgoing breath. The breath comes in, then the breath goes out. Uh, but essentially, the idea is, as per my own experience, that when you're focusing on the breath, you don't leave the body is still there. It's not like, it is essentially an expansion of consciousness. You now are connected with the body, and now you expand the consciousness. Of course, the breath is a part of the body, but to be more aware of the breath and pinpoint focus on the breath. And when we pinpoint focus on the breath, we focus on each and every part of the breath. Here, I am not explaining this through a particular school of thought. I am just explaining this through what I have really found useful. And it might be like bits and pieces from here and there. One is that I really like to sit with my legs folded and with a little cushion under my tailbone, because that really helps to lift my spine. Even Sweta can talk about the posture a little bit. I think she would have some tips on that, but I really find it comfortable if I put a little cushion, and all of us can find our own sweet spot. A little cushion under the tailbone that lifts the spine and helps you sit straight. And even a little back support for me, like a lower back support, because then it really helps me to be anchored and a stable back so that I can, just focus on the meditation. And once this is done, the second part, which I found really helpful, and I learned it through one of the Buddhist yoga retreats, meditation retreats, it is this that once you sit, you do not try to, just straighten your spine. Let me show this to you. You do not just try to, like, if I'm sitting like this, I won't be like this, just like do this. This is like putting a lot of strain on my spine. I'm sitting like this and I do this. It's very stressful for the spine. And after probably a few minutes, we will develop some pain in the spine. And this is not really helpful. But what they told me was that while you're sitting in a relaxed position, not like slouching or something, but in a relaxed position, when your back is not stiffened like this, also a relaxed straight back, and then you elevate the back from the neck as if somebody is pulling your neck up. Because when we do this, we put pressure on the neck also. But when we pull it up from the neck, it's a gentle pull. And the neck also kind of expands. And in the expansion of the neck, it relaxes. Because I think for most of us people, our neck is a little cringed, and which is when we develop neck pain and all of that. So pulling it up from the neck, is this part clear, or like, is everybody able to understand what I'm saying about the posture?
Yes.
Okay. This is second. Okay, first is putting some support, sitting with folded legs. Second is pulling up from the neck. And the third is to place your arms. One is the lotus position, that you place your arms like this. Okay, one on top of the other like this. I really find this also nice. This is also quite comfortable for me. The other is that you put your hands on your laps. Okay, on your
Okay.
laps, on your laps. While you have your legs folded, you put your hands on your laps, a little back. So let's say I'm sitting, okay, and I put my hands on the lap and keep them a little back, closer towards the thighs instead of the knees. Like, instead of sitting like this, I put them a little piche. So when I put them closer towards the thighs, what happens is my shoulders automatically retract and the chest opens. Okay. And when the chest opens, it helps open the heart chakra. And it is really, meditation. One of the key aspects of, meditating, or like generally for growth in life, is to be able to open the heart chakra, because that is where the elevating energy in life, love, the higher frequencies flow, and a closed heart is unable to accept change and growth. So this is really helpful in that. And the other is to keep your eyes very gently closed. You don't have to really shut them, even if they're like slightly that openish close, very gently close. And lastly, to keep your lips a little separate, okay? Not keep your lips like completely, keep them a little apart, which helps relax the lips. Because you see, if the body is relaxed, the entire purpose is relaxation. It's not about like having a really stiff body. If the body is relaxed, then you can really ease into the posture and focus on the breath. If it is not relaxed, then your mind will also not be relaxed. And then, keep them a little apart. And then the another point is to keep the tongue touching your upper palate a little, the tip of your tongue touching the upper palate in a very gentle, relaxed way. Lips a little apart, tip of the tongue touching the upper palate, the inside upper palate, and very gently and relaxed. So these are the points about the posture. The other points about the breathing is that you focus on the in breath and the out breath. That is number one. Second is you try that the breath settles into a natural flow. Let me check. There are some comments here. Please, can you move closer to your mic? Oh, I did that. I hope it's comfortable now. And if there is any issue, just you can like speak, unmute yourself. Be good to learn something new as well. Okay, found, got it. Okay, then when you're focusing on the breath, allow your breath to fall into a natural ease. Because typically, when as soon as we start to see something, we start to change it. That's a tendency of the mind. It because that change happens because we start to control it. But here we need to let go of the control. It might not happen like initially, and there might be you might take some time, but that's okay. Like, no, don't beat yourself for not being perfect, because we are not trying to be perfect. We are trying to find ease in whoever we are. We are trying to find complete peace and acceptance here. And this is like the guideline. And we're trying to get closer, gently nudge ourselves, just like a child, closer to the guidelines. We have them in our mind, and it'll be good to like move to them. And like initially, the breath might be, and then it becomes almost like a soundless breathing, soundless, deep breathing. And then another point is when you're breathing, you bring your attention to your belly. When you're breathing in, the belly needs to expand. And when you're breathing out, the belly needs to contract, and which is in tune with the diaphragm. Because as you breathe in, your lungs need to expand and the diaphragm needs to push down. So your stomach needs to be pushed out. And that helps. The more this is probably also called diaphragmic breathing or something like that. Yeah.
Abdominal
So,
breathing.
sorry,
More of abdominal breathing, basically.
abdominal breathing, diaphragm, yeah, whatever. So these are all the points. Now you keep your awareness on the breath. Now this is a very important point. It really helped me better my practice, which is you focus on the in breath you focus on the out breath. But not just that, you focus on the entire length of the in breath and the entire length of the out breath. Each and every minute component of the in breath. Because earlier it was like in breath. And like just in the beginning, it's in breath, and then kind of I will lose it and go into a thought and then out breath. Okay, but the in breath has a duration. The out breath has a duration, and that entire duration, the in breath has a dance to it. It sort of changes, and your entire body also dances along with it. So you have to watch it very, very minutely, the entire length of the in breath. This also comes through practice. Okay, I think I have covered most of the points. This is what it is. Now, why it helps is when you focus on your breath becomes your anchor. Your the anchor for your awareness. As soon as your awareness starts to drift into the thoughts, which it will, the exercise is not to stop the mind. The exercise is to strengthen the awareness. The mind can wander wherever it has to. But if my awareness muscle is strong, I can keep it on the breath. And then by virtue of that, the mind can become less active. But that is not the purpose. Because the stronger the awareness, the more efficiently I can direct energy in my life. And it is all about directing energy by choice. So when you are watching your breath and your mind wanders, bring it back. If your mind wanders and it has been wandering for 10 minutes, 10 seconds, no problem. Whenever you realize that, oh, I had sat down to focus on the breath, then that is the moment of blessing. That is the moment of development, because now your awareness is getting stronger. Otherwise, you might not have been able to see that I am thinking. You become the thinking, and you are never able to like disassociate you with the thinking. You always think that the thoughts and me are the same, and you immediately react to the thoughts, which is where all the flurry of emotions come in. But now you're able to slowly detach, even if slightly. And as soon as you witness, oh, now I have held the hands of the thoughts and I've been walking, let me come back. Let me come back to the breath. So this is expansion and retraction. When you get into the thoughts, it's expansion, and you bring it back, it's retraction. Just like we expand and retract our muscles, and that starts to build our muscles, we are building the awareness muscle, and which is a beautiful thing to do. With awareness only we can do things in life. Unless we are aware of something, we can't direct energy to improve that area in our lives. Okay, I think, okay, we are taking a lot of time. Okay, witness the thoughts. The second is throughout the day. One is while you're meditating, but your meditation is not over in half an hour. What about the rest of the day? The rest of the day is really key. If you meditate for 30 minutes and as soon as you get out of meditation, you're the same person and like completely like getting triggered by all the thoughts, and like you're going out and you're like, oh, why is this mess here, and my food is not ready, oh, I'm late, man, shit, this is really bad. And so this is something which will happen by practicing it throughout the day. How do you practice? Again, keep that awareness on the thought. Witness throughout the day whatever you are seeing. You are the seer. You are consciousness. आप आत्मा हो जो इस body में बैठी है. You are consciousness which is residing in this body, which is witnessing the universe through the aspect, the point of view of this body. You just witness. You witness your own thoughts. You witness your body, the feelings in the body. You witness other people. You witness the words they are saying without getting caught up in them. And let's say a thought comes into your head. We'll take an example. And the thought comes that, oh, I'm spending 30 minutes in this meditation every day. I don't even know if this is going to help me. Okay. This thought is, you're just sitting having tea, and this thought comes into. Now you start thinking about that thought. Okay. The thought came in, but now you saw that thought, you got entangled in it, and you started thinking about it. Oh, yes. Then this entire thing will be waste of time. I don't even know 21 days. What the hell is this? Why am I doing this? Nobody else in my family is doing it. Other people also seem to be happy. They are not doing this. Why only these days they are talking about meditation? And you're like on and on and on, thinking about it, making stories about how this could go wrong. That is the only thing that the mind can do. The mind on its own can only think about what all things can go wrong, because that's its nature. It's nothing wrong with it. It's there to protect you. But then if you give all of your energy to your mind, if you give all the, like, put the mind in the driver's seat, it is just making a mess of your life. Now what is the solution? You're thinking, the thought comes, oh man, what this 21 days, right? You just witness the thought. That thought comes on the thought screen. It comes, you see it, it goes away. Another one comes, goes away. You don't start thinking about that thought. So inherently, thoughts and thinking is different. Thought is a noun, thinking is an active verb. It is an act that you do. It is you committing energy into it, and you giving a life of its own to that the empty, lifeless thought. And when you give it energy, it manifests into your life. On its own, it is nothing. It's just an empty, energy-less thing which is just going on. You put energy into it, it manifests into your life, and things start to happen negatively. And you're like, oh man, I should be even more careful. Things can really go wrong. And you get up in this stupid loop of being overprotective and oversecure. And the more you do it, the more fearful you are, the more like tough and the more challenging life seems to you. So just witness the thoughts. And generally speaking, thoughts are expansive. Unless you think about them, when thoughts are coming, they'll be generally expansive. If you're just sitting, generally you will get thoughts which are, some nice ideas. But you will say, no, 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 this doesn't make sense. There'll be like thought will come, yeah, I wish I could be right now in the mountains. Now that's a thought. But now the thinking would be like, that you're stupid. You can't do things like on a whim like this. You have responsibilities to take care of, and you just suppress that thought. So thoughts typically are expansive and beautiful. They are essentially coming from what we call the super mind, the larger consciousness, the universe itself. Like, they are indications to navigate your life in a positive direction. Only if you could just receive them without judging them. So for now, just look at those thoughts. And when you engage in thinking, you can witness this for yourself. Just do this exercise. A thought comes, you start thinking about it. As soon as you start thinking about it, you will be in a nice energy plane. Your energy starts to drain. You'll feel contracted. You'll feel like contraction in your chest. You will feel a little fear. So, yeah, this is what it is. Any questions on this?
One question that comes to mind
Yes,
at this
Hanji, Hanji,
stage, am
yes,
I audible?
yes. Yes, you're perfectly audible.
Right. We say the thoughts are perishable and they are very quickly perishable. So, what is the life of a thought? How long we should not concentrate on that, or we should not waste energy on that? The philosophy of thoughts are perishable. You got any saying on that?
Yeah, all of the thoughts are perishable because on their own, they don't have a life of their own. It is through the thoughts that uh, things manifest in life. And I would say that we don't need to. One second. we don't need to worry about how perishable they are and how long they take. For example, let's say you get an angry thought, okay, and you witness that. So typically, the emotion of anger is the most short-lived emotion. It is the easiest to resolve in life because if you watch it, it'll just pass and settle down. It is the easiest to resolve. So, like, if we would like to start with something, we can start with anger. But I would say just be neutral. Like for some other people, like something else might be very easy to resolve. And not worry about how much time it takes because each person has a different experience. And when we start thinking about how much time it is going to take, then by that very thinking, we will affect our experience. Like, let's say if I today were to tell you that, okay, thoughts take generally 10 seconds to settle. Now your thoughts will not take less than 10 seconds to settle. They will probably take 10 minutes to settle because that is the benchmark your own mind, your own like subconscious mind has planted inside of it. And we are creating that expectation out of our own experience, and which is how the experience will manifest. So just let it be. Let's go along with the experience. If it takes long, then also okay. If it quickly goes away, then also okay. And as I said, our focus is not really to get rid of the thoughts. Our focus is to detach from the thoughts. Like any number of thoughts can come in. If I am completely detached from them and they have no bearing on the quality of my life, if they are not creating movements inside of me, then it doesn't matter how many thoughts are there. And gradually, like if I am not going to be detached with them, they are going to lower. The number of thoughts are going to get dramatically lower and lower. And the thinking, it's like the more important is the thinking part. Thoughts may still be there, beautiful thoughts may still come in, like beautiful ideas out of the ordinary. Like for example, like I read while I was like in 12th standard that the structure of fluorine, which is a hexagonal structure, and the scientist who discovered it, his name was Buckminster Fluorine, and he discovered it while he was dreaming. And in the dream, he saw a bunch of snakes wrapped around in a hexagon. So this is how. And if you would like talk to other people who made discoveries and all, they all got it as a download from the universe, which is what the thoughts are. Like the most brilliant ideas you just get sitting silently, probably like pooping. You're emptying yourself out and you're letting go of stuff from the body. You're in a more letting go space. And then in that letting go space, ideas come in. Those thoughts come in. And generally, as I said, those thoughts will be really, really beautiful, expansive. They will help you grow. The only challenge is when we start thinking about them. So, my suggestion would be to focus really for now on the thinking part, the active thinking part that we choose to do. It is our choice. I can stop doing it right now. I can see myself, oh, for the last 5 minutes, I've been thinking how such a such person is an asshole. I can stop that right now. The more I thinking bad about somebody, the more I'm holding negative emotions, the more it'll negatively affect my life. So does that answer the question, Gurmukh ji?
Perfectly okay, right? Thank you very much for dwelling on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your question, ji. Okay, so moving forward, the critical voice. Okay, so I think most of us would have observed that while we are going about our day-to-day routine, there is a voice in the head which is going on and on and on. And the nature of this voice, the interesting thing about this voice is it is always critical about us. If we are doing something, it'll say, oh, you're not walking the right way. Oh, what will the other people think about you? Oh, I am wearing this. What is the other person wearing? Oh, I am doing it this way. I could have done this better. oh, how I'm like trying to experiment and chop some vegetables. Oh, you can't even chop vegetables properly. Oh, you've dropped all that milk here. You can't even handle things properly. You are just like a very ungainly person. And all of those thoughts, like a lot of us might have witnessed to varying degrees, some less, some more. Like if you do not experience that voice a lot either, uh, we are unaware and we are not aware of that voice saying things to us, or like we really have a positive self image, and which is congratulations to you. But if you do, uh, in a nutshell, what this voice is the environment. While we grew up as a child, we internalize that environment, the feedback we got from the parents, the teachers, the coaches, our friends who bullied us, gave us feedback, our uncles and aunties, our neighbors, and whoever. And they told us things. They like said how good we were or how bad we were. And we internalized their feedback to modulate our behavior to a new behavior which would help us receive appreciation and acceptance from people around us. And these all voices were internalized in our subconscious mind. And now maybe our parents are not around us, our teachers are not around us. We are constantly playing the role of our teacher, our parent, our dad, our mom, and silently criticizing our own selves in whatever we do. Now, this is a very negative voice, so it's very good to be aware of this whenever we are doing something mindfully, and the voice tells us how bad we are doing it, how we really suck at painting and we shouldn't really try it, and we can really not do this. We messed it up like 5 times earlier, and giving us reasons for why we suck at what we are doing. And all of those stories, it's good to just first become aware of that voice, and second, to change that voice to a positive one, to a voice through which we acknowledge ourselves that you're amazing, baby. I love you for who you are. I really love you. I accept you the way you are. And like, this is amazing. And if something bad happens, it's okay. Like, shit happens. It's okay. There's nothing to worry about it. Don't worry. And you're amazing. You're perfect the way you are. You're like making this effort. I'm so happy with you. Talk to yourself in a positive way. I know this talking is also chatter, but it's really great to transform it from a negative chatter to a positive chatter. Okay, so the book reading that I'm recommending is The Handbook to Higher Consciousness by Ken Keyes Jr. I've shared the PDF on the group, and I would really ask all of you to read chapters 2, 3, and 4 in this week and see what you can learn from there and reflect on that, incorporate whatever you can. So, this is about the next week. And what next? Breath awareness practice or continue with body awareness? We talked about it. And in the body awareness, we could also explore self love and inner child. So, as we've discussed, we will do a bit of the breath awareness and then see where it goes from there. And just chill, take it one step at a time, be who you are and grow from who you are without putting on yourself a lot of expectations and making it an overwhelming process, because at every step is a giant leap for you. Keep taking those tiny baby steps. In those tiny steps, you really create the life of your dreams, and accept yourself wholeheartedly, because in acceptance you create a future self, a beautiful future self. And in doing that, you can also thank your past self for leading you to where you are today. Had the past self not gone through what it did and taken the choices that it did, you wouldn't have landed here. So this is how you integrate the past, present, and future, and have a positive, healthy, loving relationship with all of your millions of cells while anchoring in the present moment. So thank you so much. I'm happy to answer Q&As, but before that, I'll just hand it over to Shweta. And Hanji, Shweta, you can share about yourself and about probably even about your journey, whatever you would like to share.
Thanks so much, Prab. I'm quite honored that you've allowed me to collaborate with you. So I am a Hatha Yoga practitioner, and I spend time between Chennai and Bangalore. So I do offer a portion of yoga classes in person, depending on whether you live in either of these two cities. The rest of my work is largely online. I have been practicing by myself for about, I would say, 8 to 10 years, but I got certified as a yoga instructor about a year and a half ago. So I've actually been teaching people for a year and a half, although I've been practicing on my own, on and off, quite regularly for the past several years. That being said, I'm going to try and tie some of the points Prab spoke about and how that ties in with Hatha Yoga. So just to give you a brief overview of what Hatha Yoga is, it is a very accessible yoga practice in that you kind of practice a few poses at a time, and then you take a pose that allows you to reflect on whatever you've just done. So you build some breath as well as body awareness. And so that is an excellent tool. So to just kind of simplify that a bit further, say you'll do 1 or 2 standing poses, and then you'll take a relaxation pose that helps you kind of reflect and become aware of the muscles you just used. And with every pose that you do, there's a counter pose in Hatha Yoga that allows you to reflect on the pose that you have just performed and the muscles you used when you did that pose. So what it actually does is it makes you aware of all the various muscles in your body, because there are poses for every part of your body, and of course, there is Surya Namaskar, which is elementary, and it kind of exercises all your biggest muscle groups. But you also get into poses one at a time and makes you aware of every part of your body from head to toe. What it does for me personally, that I found that when I've been practicing Hatha Yoga, is that every time you get into a relaxation pose and you're reflecting on the poses you've just performed, you realize where your stress lies. And you kind of really build a lot of awareness about where your body is accumulating its stress, what your stress points are, where are the points where you're relaxed. And that has really helped me a lot. I personally feel like, of course, there are reasons why a person does yoga. For me, it was mostly because I have had a very stressful life. Of course, everyone has jobs, and jobs can be quite stressful. And that was my story as well. But I was also looking after my terminally ill parents. So anyone who's tried to balance a lot of things at once, in terms of a job and also like looking after a loved one who is suffering. If you've spent like days at an ICU, or if you've taken someone to chemo, or you've taken someone to dialysis, or you've just having a very hectic time at work, you know how hard it is for you to sleep, right? Or you know how much mental noise there is. And sometimes what yoga can do, and it has helped me a lot, is just calm, because you're matching your breath to your movement and you're becoming aware of where your stress is located. So that is something that I've learned through practicing Hatha Yoga, and I try to encourage everyone I'm teaching to kind of develop some awareness about where their stress lies, and kind of loosen up parts of your body where you're holding tension. I held everything in my shoulders. It's still a constant battle for me to kind of loosen up my neck, shoulders, and back, which kind of prevent, a lot of, it's stress. You're holding your stress there. You become aware of it. I do try and inculcate some kind of awareness on the two when I'm teaching, matching your breath to your movement and becoming aware of where your stress points lie. That being said, another couple of things that Prab mentioned during his presentation really resonated with me, and I will, going further down this week, I'll try and host a session for you all and take you through some basic moves. But what he did mention was one very important element about not aiming for perfection. And I feel like that's true. It's not about aiming for perfection. It's about regularity. the more often you show up to do something, the more habitual it becomes and the better you become at it. So it's not like you're aiming for that perfection, you improve over time. So the poses that I do, I usually work with beginners, or I work with people who've developed a lot of stiffness in their back, shoulder, or neck. And with each of these people, I'm trying to build a regular yoga practice. So I will try and help you all kind of develop some awareness on how your spine functions. What are some basic moves you can do? Even if you're not really practicing with an instructor, just develop some awareness on your spine and the movements you can take even at home when you're by yourself, and how regular practice of that can help a great deal in relieving a lot of stress and tension that you're carrying around. So I look forward to this, and I look forward to participating in meditation sessions through this week, and also sometime later this week, guiding you all through a brief yoga session just to help you develop some awareness on how your breath and your body are connected. Thanks, Prab.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sveta, for offering this beautiful gift to us all. And I, for one, would be really, really interested in the Hatha Yoga session that you would be offering. And like uh, quite a few years back, I did this Iyengar Yoga. But I think that is very different from Hatha Yoga, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean,
Yes.
I think because yoga is such a practice that's evolved over so many years, there's so many different schools now. I feel like everyone has their own take on it. So yes, there are different schools of yoga, and there's no
All right.
one pure form of yoga or anything like that.
Sure.
It's just because
Sure.
it's evolved. And yeah, every style is different, and it can bring different types of benefits to anyone who practices it. And that being said, I'm not partial to one style or the other. It's just that I choose to teach Hatha Yoga because I'm most
Of
comfortable with the
course.
format.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah,
if
but
there
I really found this aspect interesting that you highlighted, that after every pose, there is a counter pose and there is a relaxation pose, right? In which, because I thought that was really, really important. Like after a while in my yoga practice, I realized how important it was to really ease into a pose and make that pose your like comfortable space, your home. Because like there's no point getting through meditation or any form of exercise if you're like holding your breath and all tight and just trying to get through that pose. It adds more stress to the entire pile of stress, and which is what we are trying to get rid of. So like this, integrating it as part of the entire style of teaching, this is really something interesting, and I am completely looking forward to this.
I'm glad you're excited. I'm excited as well. I can see Gurmukh had his hand raised.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Sveta. One question
Sure.
which is in my mind. Generally, one should get the clarification whenever there's a doubt. And as you say, Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga by default means that you're doing something even if your mind and body doesn't want Hatha. Hatha, is that you mean? Because with the moment say Hatha, it means that we want to do it against all will. So what that is exactly?
No, it's not a style that's making you do something against your will. It is more about training your body to become aware of the muscles that you have. So what, as a beginner, you might find, especially if you've not practiced this style of yoga, you might find that the pose doesn't feel natural to you. And yes, that is true. We don't have to stand like, we don't have to be in shoulder stand on our regular days. It's not natural. So yes, it doesn't feel natural to your body. That being said, you realize what are the muscles you can exercise by holding that pose. And over time, you feel benefits. You can feel that your muscles relax over time. So it's the first maybe 500 times, 600 times you're attempting a pose, it's not comfortable, but you can definitely feel your muscles working. And that's the beauty of it. So that's been my experience with Hatha Yoga. And you're right, it doesn't feel natural. Some of the poses are not natural at all. There's no reason to be holding them beyond the yoga session. But it brings so many benefits to your body, which you kind of realize over time. Like, I would say personally, I'm in my 30s now, but I, in my 30s, have a much more flexible body than I had as a 22-year-old. And that to me speaks a lot about what yoga has done for me. And I'm going to be 40 soon, and it's amazing. I don't feel 40, I feel much younger. And I think it's a result of how consistent practice has helped me build, some flexibility and vigor into my body.
Perfectly, you rightly said. You certainly doesn't look 40 because you have my daughter 25, 30. So not 40 at least, I am sure. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome.
Yeah, I also wanted to add something there from my own experience, which is like earlier when I would do yoga and like poses like Adho Mukh Svanasana, that downward dog.
Yeah, downward dog,
Yeah,
not natural at
and
all.
not natural at all. And the way we were taught this in the Iyengar yoga, because they really emphasize each and every muscle, the way it needs to be stretched. Like just pull your belly up and stretch your back. Your legs should be completely taut and your feet should be planted. Like earlier, it used to feel like such a struggle. Now that I've been doing it since a while, like whenever I feel a little something off in my back or the neck, I just go and do a downward dog and it does a tuck tuck
Nothing
tuck, and my
stretches it better.
entire back, it's like such the most my favorite pose. Like
Because it
just like
really
a,
stretches everything from your neck to
yeah.
your like calves, and everything gets stretched. And you're right, it's a good pose to do for back.
Yeah. So, but earlier it didn't feel nice. So, like to that, I feel like there are a lot of good things in life which, when you start, they don't feel nice. They feel like, given a choice, you would rather not do this. Like have start eating more fruits, or given a choice, I'll have that golgappa or whatever, right? So there are temptations to just take it easy and laze around. But as you start to build on it, it becomes like non-negotiable, because that is what really gives your day the shine. As you said, like you've become more flexible compared to how you were in your 20s, which is amazing, like which is such a huge thing, like being more flexible in your 40s than in your 20s, and it is possible.
It is possible. And I think as one grows older, you realize that we really undervalue A, awareness about body and breath, B, the benefits of being flexible. Because the older you are, the more stiff your body naturally tends to become, but you want to beat that. And the way to do that is to being flexible, because it prevents you from getting injured. And if you're old and injured, you find a lot of people you love around you, their lives become incredibly hard because they're trying to like look after you, and you don't want to have that happen. So you want to be that flexible person who is not falling prey to injuries as your body ages. And I think that's just something that's undervalued. But I feel like being regular kind of combats that, being regular at a yoga practice kind of combats some of that.
Just one thing to add here, like as per my understanding of Hatha Yoga goes, I think it's the union which we are emphasizing on quite often. Tha stands for union, and that's what I understood, that when we are doing any pose, how we coordinate it with our breathing, and the impact of it is not just physically on our body, but it is actually a union of our soul or prana with our body. That's what I think it actually enables us to do. And I felt that while I was at the Shivananda Nayar Center, that I think a few sessions there and a few days there, I could feel that difference in my practice to some extent. So that is something I thought I would just add here. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. I'm glad you shared that, because I resonate with that a lot, because I usually feel the effects of it after a few days. Like if I've practiced a pose over a few days, that's when I feel like this is doing something to my overall happiness or mental state or how a pose can actually calm you if practiced over time. So yeah, I definitely resonate with that idea of the, just how it's connected to your emotions, your breath, the way you move your body, and finally the effect on your emotions.
My yoga teacher is 104 years old and he still teaches.
Oh, that's
Wow.
so cool to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. He still walks. He's in his senses. He has his teeth and and he still teaches.
That's
Awesome.
amazing. That's really inspiring.
He lives near Jamnaji in Delhi and he's got a yoga school there. And he comes home. I've been learning from past maybe 46 years from him. I've learned and stopped, but he's came for 46 years.
This
Wow.
is so
Every day.
inspiring. Yeah. And aspirational, right?
Yeah, there's so many things which are motivating here, like improving your flexibility, living up to 104, having like your teeth throughout your life. So many good things.
I used to eat fabric of 4 meters, eat it up, and then take it out. Because I had a lot of phlegm for asthma, and there were no good gadgets then. So I used to eat fabric, boiled and washed and everything, and then take it out. And also put one rope inside my nose and take it out from my mouth for my sinuses.
Sutra Neti.
Yeah. Sutra Neti, yeah.
Yeah.
And now
But
I
this
do that.
fabric thing I've heard for the first time.
That is
Putting
called
fabric in
Vastra
it.
Dhoti. It's called Vastra Dhoti.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
It sounds
Like,
helpful. Did you feel better?
Well, for that moment I felt, but the basic cause was my not having water throughout the day. So my mucus used to become thickened.
hmm.
That was the real cause of
Then
it.
it really sticks and it's difficult to get it out.
So now your sinuses are fine.
I'm perfectly fine. I don't have sinus. I don't have asthma. I drink a lot of water.
Lovely.
Yeah.
So you healed your asthma by doing this
No.
Vastra
No.
Dhoti?
No. I healed by drinking water.
Okay.
My Guruji, not yoga Guruji, my spiritual Guruji told me to drink water. Then I started to
Okay.
drink water. The day I go shopping and I have not had water because of the Indian toilet conditions you can't use. So I know by the evening I'll get a mild coughing out attack of mucus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. That's lovely, Anita.
Where in Delhi is this yoga teacher of yours is based?
He lives in near Jamnaji, near ISBT. It's called Bharat Yoga Ashram.
Bharat Yoga. Okay.
Yeah. If you want, you can connect with his son
Okay.
now. I can share the number if you like.
I'm too far from ISBT, but definitely sometime I will visit it.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for sharing, though. It's very inspiring.
Welcome.
Yeah, very inspiring. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Sveta, coming back to you, thank you for sharing. And I am 40 plus, and trust me, I was far from being flexible when I was in my 20s because I suffered from a spine autoimmune condition, and there was no way I could move. I was completely immobile. But coming back to yoga and different postures and a lot of in my eating patterns, that I'm way more flexible, and I keep telling my kids all the time, that watch out, don't get there, So they are like, the whole family eats, the whole family parties, you're the odd one out. But I don't want them to suffer and then learn. And I think, it's time to re-educate the kids, because whatever we learned in school doesn't help us. It may have helped us, maybe just living through life and memorizing those chapters or whatever. But other than that, it hasn't taught us how to live life. And that's
Exactly. Exactly. Thank you for saying that. I felt that so often, right? We don't really learn anything about how to handle our bodies in real life at all. I mean, the maximum they did was like this one chapter on which food group has which vitamin, but
that is also by the farmer, right? So that doesn't tell the truth.
That doesn't really, yeah, you're right.
In
And
fact, we are like taught to disconnect from our bodies. Even like if we have to go pee, you have to take permission to pee. Like, can I go to
Exactly.
the toilet? Like it's
and
It's a
for
that
the
kind of
massive.
regimentation.
we are taught to hold on. In school we are taught
Absolutely.
the
You have to
recess.
stand in the assembly. Like in my school, there used to be people fainting during the assembly.
Yes. I'm one of those who fainted in school a lot, but nobody, like parents thought it was normal, and for girls it's normal, and
See,
so much.
that's how they normalize all of this scam.
It's very important, and even about the vaccines and their side effects. It's so important to promote all of this. So thank you, Prab, for at least starting this initiative.
It's
Hopefully,
my pleasure.
yes.
And thanks for like attending, being here with your presence. And
You
it's
know, I
nice to see you. I've been
trust me,
like seeing your name, but like it's nice to see you for the first time.
trust me. I tried today. I'm just under the weather, so I'm on bed. So I was like able to attend it in peace. Otherwise, it's like all of us living here and with growing up teens, you are on the go, right? That's
Hmm.
how it is. So I think a more early morning timing or a late night timing is what will work for us
Oh, for the meditations?
for the meditations and for the sessions, because it's
Okay.
quite hard in the
Okay.
middle of. So I've
Middle of
actually
the
been.
day. Okay.
I would love to attend all of them, but as much as I try, it's not happening. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'll see what can be done. Like if I can move it to an early, I'll put a poll on the group and let's see if more people are comfortable with an early morning timing. At least we can move the meditations to an early morning slot.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And Prab, I just wanted to add here one thing, like I think it has naturally happened today that each one of us is sharing. So I guess when you were asking us that, what is the change that you would like to see from the first week to second week, I I wanted to say this, that if you can have one day like this Sunday, the same way you can have the next Sunday, a day when everybody can share, because when you share through your experiences, how each one of us has accepted and really taken it into us is very different, and I think that experience uh, helps each one of us when we talk about it. So I think Sunday can be, to some extent, maybe a specific time, 5 minutes, or you can just have for sharing by each one. So that some bit of thoughts can be, shared through this. Yeah.
Just,
Thank
I
you, Ritu,
think,
for that feedback.
yeah, I just want to add on to something that Ritu said. That was, I actually feel the same, Ritu. This is like the first time I'm joining this group, right? But like, because everyone is interacting, I feel like I know each of you a little bit better than when we first started off. So I think this is useful, Prab. And if you were to do it next Sunday as well, I would definitely join to kind of chat with everyone for sure.
That sounds lovely. This is, yeah, even I agree. This is really great. And I think there's something about Sveta, your presence. You've joined today, and sort of everybody's very chatty, and we like a nice vibe going on.
Thank you.
So, this beautiful things coming, and really looking forward to the next week with Sveta's session and the meditations, everything. Right. So if that is all, I will update on the group, discuss with Shweta and the timing of the yoga session. And we will continue the meditation sessions for now, 7 to 8, 7 to 7:45. And I'll also put a post on the group and see if we can change the timings. And thank you everyone for coming.
Thank
And you
you.
have a lovely day, a lovely Sunday.
Thank you,
Thanks.
Prab.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks, Rob.
you. Thank
Thanks,
Thank you,
you.
everyone else.
everyone.
Tomorrow we meet.
Tomorrow we meet. Yes. Yes, we meet.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.